Hello, this is Kevin. This is Played in China, and today what we want to do is take things on the road. Took advantage this week. I had to pop down to Beijing to deal with passport renewals and the like at the UK embassy, and we took the opportunity whilst we were down there to visit something I've had my eye on for the last year or so, since bits of it started creeping onto social media. Universal Studios in Beijing. So this is a new Universal Studios park. I'm led to believe it's actually the biggest of the parks. It certainly feels pretty epic in scope. We took a bit of time to explore the different parts of the park, which split into an area devoted to the Minions, one area devoted to Kung Fu Panda. Both of these are really for the younger kids. We went through the Harry Potter and Hollywood areas. Harry Potter, my niece is a big fan of Harry Potter, so that was very high on the agenda. But the highlights for me and the boys were the Jurassic World and Transformers parts of the park, Metro Base, the Transformers parts. So I didn't want to focus on everything today. It's give you a quick overview. The park is fantastic. It's beautifully put together. The attention to detail throughout is magnificent. The film geek in me was just overwhelmed by the little details that were here, there, and everywhere. The kids were completely wrapped up in it. It's a very immersive park, and this is what gets me the most. In the same way that when you go to one of the Disney parks, the different areas feel quite immersive, the Universal Park probably even doubles down a bit on some of this. Especially, I thought the Harry Potter and Kung Fu Panda worlds, in terms of just the sheer immersion, were absolutely fantastic. But I really want to focus on one ride, and for that we're going to go to Island U Bar, where they host the Jurassic World Adventure ride. Now this is a track dark ride, combination of animatronics and projections, so live action and CGI. But one of the things that got me the most with it was just the way that you are brought into the ride. The immersion as you go through the area, as you enter the queue, is fantastic. The queuing building is a copy of the large conical building that you'll remember from the opening scenes of Jurassic World, the Hammond Labs Visitor Center, and it is such a stunning recreation. I mean, it lacks the holograms and some of the details that you have there because it's built for a queue. But the queue wends its way around here. The central statue of John Hammond remains intact from the movie, with a big, beautiful DNA lighting system above it. The roof panels are split between windows and video screens, and the video screens are showing segments, if you like. So it's almost like it's a wraparound screen broken up by the windows, and they're showing video that is new for the park. These are not clips from the movies. These are like park promo shots, like zoo promo shots, you would imagine. They show a range of the dinosaurs from the movies. They show a beautiful recreation of the that very famous, Owen and the Velociraptors scene where he's like, "No, don't you eyeball me," kind of thing. Kind of recreate that, but from a completely different angle, so it is new for the ride, and it's really cleverly put together. And you get caught up in this. There are dinosaur displays around the edge. It does feel right. It feels like the visitor center. You go through, and in what I thought was a great homage to Jurassic Park, the next thing you actually see is the hatchery in the DNA lab, a little bit like on the little rotating ride they have that they interrupt so they can go and have a look at the new hatchlings. They have a lab, and it's really nice. Now, I'm no scientist. I don't know how accurate this is for a genetics lab, but it feels right for the movie context. And so you go through that, you're introduced to the Atlas vehicle that you're going to be riding in, and it slowly takes you down to the loading bay. We were in the queue for probably 30-35 minutes. It stated it was a 30-minute queue time on our first run through. It didn't feel like that. It really didn't. Between talking with my sons about the posters on the outside, the educational stuff, and just drinking in the scenery and watching the videos and looking at the artifacts that they'd set up, it felt like a much shorter time. And by the time you got on the ride, you were really ready for it. One of the other things I did like, they had fake, sort of like those classic travel posters, but for attractions within the park. And they were so well designed. I remember kind of like warning my wife that if they had them in the gift shop, I would be buying some to frame and bring home. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your point of view, they didn't. But to the ride itself, like I said, it's a combination of well, it's video, so live actors and CGI in the video, plus animatronics. They play together very nicely. You go through, and there's this wonderful vista of Jurassic Park projected, Jurassic World projected, and you see like the setup for what's going to happen, this lightning strike, and everything comes after that. Honestly, I would have just been very happy going through a ride that took you through the park, showing you the dinosaurs. But what you get is so much more than that. It does have a good narrative to it. It does have a really strong visual impact. The ride and the axes of movement are really used to full effect here. And I have to say here, it is not as dizzying as the similar Harry Potter ride that they have, which was fantastic, don't get me wrong. I didn't enjoy that as much because it was a bit too busy. This told one good, consistent story in a clear way. It wasn't language dependent. You could figure it out no matter what language was being used. And obviously it's Beijing, they're speaking Chinese. Even if you don't speak Chinese, you're going to get what's going on. It's not rocket science. It's a clean narrative. And the ride tells a story well. I'm not going to get bogged down here and describe the whole thing. I'm going to let you see some of it. I'm not going to show the full ride through. It's a dark ride, so some of the footage isn't great anyway. And also, I really believe you should see this for yourself. It's a great ride. It's immersive. The kids loved it. The grown-ups loved it. It's really well presented. I'm sitting there, and my mind is always looking behind the scenes, thinking about the technical aspects of it. And even with that, I'm still kind of overawed by the whole thing. So, yeah, take a look at this. Thank you for sitting and listening with me today. I hope you enjoy the show.